gap. So these drugs are given, because when the drugs are given over time, it helps to prevent these complications. I mean, people are going to the community, see people are becoming blind. Their eyes are open, but they cannot see. I mean, there was a case in Ibiaku, a lady, she complained she couldn't see for like 5 years, you know, and she was just at home. But we administered some drugs to her, and these drugs are free. And within about 2 to 3 months, this woman was going to the market, going to the farm, doing her thing. So we went to check on her, check up on her. We were surprised that she was not at home, but because she had gone to the market to, you know, make ends meet for the family. So these are some of the things we want to look at as stakeholders.
All right. Now, you've mentioned that the summit is coming up on the 7th of September, which, yes, of course, is to gather stakeholders. I know that multi-donor agencies play a key role, yeah, in handling some of the intervention programs, definitely, that we have in Akwa Ibom State. So what has been the level of collaboration that the ministry has gotten so far? And looking at, you know, the level that collaboration is currently coming up, will that be able to address the immediate need of, first and foremost, looking at the volunteers, because these are the foot soldiers, yeah, who are taking the message down? Will it be able to address that? And of course, are these volunteers equally enough to even take this message to the respective communities in Akwa Ibom?
Okay, thank you very much. And let me also use the opportunity to appreciate our partner, Elinkela International and End Fund. You know, they've been around in Akwa Ibom for quite some time, and they've supported the implementation of the various strategies we've talked about, especially the mass administration of medicine and the mobility management and disability prevention. Then we also have other NGOs in the state that are also coming to support, you know, the entities program, like AKS. You know, AKS is also coming very strong. They're supporting the hosting of the, you know, the summit on the 7th. Then apart from that, we've also reached out to corporate bodies in the state. For instance, every 30th of January is World NCDs Day. And since 2021, you know, we've celebrated every year with the support of, you know, corporate bodies and philanthropists in the state. And so many of them have been involved, you know. I don't know if I should mention their names.
Okay, I think we'll leave that. We'll leave that out for now.
I have to pick some bills, but we've had people like that coming to support, and we are making a lot of progress. You know, so in terms of the CDDs we talked about earlier, they can't just be enough. Rather, we're having a lot of attrition because, you know, we are talking about people who are volunteering their service because of the passion, because of the love they have for their people. But with the, you know, biting economy and with all the situation we are finding ourselves every day, some of them can't just do that anymore. They can't even spare their time anymore, so they have to go make some money so that they can even survive, you know. So there's a need for a lot to be done for more people to come into the NTD's contract elimination program.
Okay, now let's look at another key issue that is a causal effect or a causal factor: poor sanitation.
Yeah.
I know for I think the last 3 or 4 years, Akwa Ibom State has been winning back-to-back the cleanest state. Yeah. And in as much as this has come under contention because of some of the scenarios that we see around, we still cannot rule out the fact that, you know, the Waste Management Agency has done the part they can. And of course, we know sanitation is a collective responsibility. Yeah. But of course, let's look at collaboration between the State Ministry of Health and the sanitation agency. What can be done to further drive the awareness and consciousness? And at this specific angle of sanitation that Akwa Ibom people need to look towards to prioritize to ensure that these neglected tropical diseases become a thing of the past in our state?
Okay, thank you. Looking at the issue of sanitation, you know, when I was talking about the soil-transmitted elephantiasis, you know, I talked about food sources, water sources being contaminated, and that has to do with the fact that most people don't have access to, you know, potable water supply to drink, to cook, and for other domestic purposes, even to wash their vegetables, their fruits, and all that. Then we're also talking about open defecation. You know, people defecate in bushes and all that because most time people don't have toilets in schools. You know, you hardly see toilets in schools and all that. And we have a high level of rainfall in this part of the world. So the rainfall washes off the, you know, fecal matter into water sources. People go to fetch, to drink, and all that. And the vicious cycle of transmission just continues. So I want to use this opportunity to really thank the governor of Akwa Ibom State, His Excellency Pastor Moino, for establishing the Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation. So because this ministry is going to really play a pivotal role in ensuring that our wash strategies are better implemented in the state. Because we're talking about young people who are affected, and most schools don't have toilets, and the children are not like adults. For instance, an adult could maybe go to use the toilet maybe once in a day, maybe to his or herself, but children are not like adults. So when they're in school, what happens when they want to use themselves? I mean, they're likely going to go to the bushes, so that ministry will really help to ensure that our schools, public facilities are functional, toilet facilities, have functional water, potable water supply, outlets, so the Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation will really play a pivotal role, because prior to this time, we have an environmental unit in the ministry, which has been collaborating with the Ministry of Environment and even the Waste Management Agency. But with the coming up of the Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation, it's going to really, up the tempo in terms of, the NTD's programs, wash strategy being implemented in the state.
Okay, now let's look at another thing that is practically unavoidable for everybody: mosquitoes. I'm shocked to know that mosquito also are, happens to be among the flies that transmit this tropical disease. Okay, so how do we get to put an end to this? I know mosquito is literally like everywhere in the country, and of course we're also talking about I think intervention programs consistently visibly the state has been about giving out mosquito nets. But oftentimes when these mosquito nets are given, they do not get to everybody in the community. I know I have stumbled on several community leaders' houses where you see stockpiles of mosquito nets that were part of intervention programs. But of course, there are people in the state who are needing this mosquito net. So beyond having agencies donating mosquito nets, what are the modalities put in place to ensure that people actually get to be aware of the importance of using mosquito nets or sleeping under, mosquito treated nets? And then, of course, these minders of the system do not stock this up in their respective houses, but give it out.
Okay, I think the first thing is health education. We have to intensify our health education efforts. And that's why I keep on saying we cannot leave these responsibilities to only the Ministry of Health. Everybody needs to be involved. Corporate bodies, media houses have invited me for this interview, which is very commendable. But jingles could be heard. I know media houses are mainly commercial, but at least as part of corporate social responsibilities, because people believe in, some sources like the radio. When they get to hear things on the radio, they believe them. So all these jingles can be heard from time to time to further educate people so they know what to do to, prevent mosquito bites and all that. For instance, everybody needs to know that the environment must be kept clean. Cut the grasses around you. I mean, you go to most places, you find wild grasses everywhere. You find puddles of water everywhere. I mean, when I was in primary school, we taught when you have puddles of water, you have to look for a way to drain them, or you can maybe put oil on the surface or liquid paraffin and all that to prevent the mosquito larvae from thriving and all that. Then even in the houses, you can use mosquito, as in your windows should have nets. You could use insecticides. You could use indoor residual sprays and all that. So there are different methods you can use to, reduce mosquito bites. Because if you don't have a mosquito bite, you're not likely to have malaria. And that's why nets are also given. But people are not still convinced that they need to sleep under the nets to prevent, mosquito bites. So we need to intensify our health education efforts. And the way our environments are, with high level of rainfall, the humidity and all that, mosquitoes will still likely be around for quite a number of years. So like what happens in the Western world, that's why research is also very important in whatever we're doing. They have mosquitoes, but these mosquitoes don't cause malaria because over time there've been some genetic modifications. So these genetically modified mosquitoes multiply. They help in pollination. Even when they bite you, they don't cause you any harm. They don't, make it come down with malaria. So we have to also invest in research. So with all these mosquitoes we have everywhere in this part of the world, we can modify them genetically. so that when they continue to multiply, they multiply in such a way that they are around, but they are not causing any problems to us. Instead, they help in pollination of, flowers, and it could also help in, fruits, developing and all that. So those are some of the things we need to do.
All right, we're going to take a short pause here and head out for a second recess. BBC The World in 2 minutes will be up next, and a few commercials. Then we'll return to the floor of the People's Parliament. Of course, Parliament, and when we do come back, it's time for you to join the conversations. And of course, the doctor will still be here for more questions. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Governor Udom Emmanuel for the commissioning of the first privately owned TV station in the Akwa Cross region.
This is Planet in partnership with the BBC. And now, BBC Minute.
BBC News with Danielle Yawowiecka. The Gabonese opposition says the army is clinging to power after Wednesday's coup. It also called absurd the plans to swear in a military leader as president in front of institutions the junta had dissolved. Much of Hong Kong and the nearby Chinese mainland has shut down as Super Typhoon Saola approaches the territory. Transport has been suspended and businesses closed, and rescue teams have been placed on alert. Long prison sentences have been given to two far-right activists for taking part in the attack on the US Capitol in 2021. The Proud Boys members were found guilty of trying to forcibly overturn Joe Biden's election victory. The Pope is in Mongolia for the first ever pontifical visit to the overwhelmingly Buddhist country. On the way there, the pontiff sent a greeting to the Chinese leader Xi Jinping. The South African president has described as a wake-up call the fire that killed more than 70 people in Johannesburg on Thursday. He said urgent action was needed to tackle the problems of inner-city housing. More than 50 police and prison officers are being held hostage in 6 jails in Ecuador. 2 bombs have gone off outside the prison's authority building. The violence is thought to be linked to the weapons searches the police have carried out in a prison. People in Singapore are electing a new president. The vote is seen as a test for the governing party, whose reputation has suffered from a series of political scandals. There have been calls for an investigation into the death in an Iranian prison of a man jailed for taking part in anti-government protests. Human Rights Watch said Tehran's history of torture made the death suspicious. And a major record label has, for the first time, signed a digital pop star. The voice of Nonuri has been created using AI.
The world in 2 minutes.
For cost-effective pricing, luxury of choice, timely delivery schedule, perfect craftsmanship, think Maldini. Maldini Granite and Marbles Limited is offering granite kitchen tops at a discounted rate of 14,890 naira per square meter. Oh yes, 14,890 naira per square meter. And for your exotic Italian granite tiles and slabs, marble tiles and slabs, vitrified and ceramic tiles, pulpits, and tombstones, and over 200 shades of colors to play with. Visit us today at number 191 Akaruduyo and number 29 Maurice Lezo Avenue, opposite EEOCO, NNPC Filling Station, Calabar, or call us on 0903 000 8852. Maldini Marbles Limited. Perfect finish at an unbeatable price. White Penguin.
Na lie. Samo, na you the sweep?
Nah.
This one you dey arrange palo so. You dey expect visitor?
Yes, so. Nah, I job between full grand.
I beg you, now they want me jare.
They play. I said I job between full grand. Now they show so. Like that. I beg, help me arrange that side. Quick. Me I go
Serious?
Introducing Go TV Super Plus package. We carry all 380 Premier League live matches on top Go TV. Enjoy Super Sport Premier League channel, Universal, Disney Channel, and more. You ask and we do. Make you recharge and upgrade to Super Plus to flex new level of football and more for only 10,500 naira. Go TV. Love it.
And contributions via the phone line now before heading back to speak with the doctor. Good morning. Welcome, Parliamentarian. Happy New Month.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker.
Welcome.
Good morning, visitor in the studio.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Welcome, Parliamentarian. Go ahead.
GMC forever. Well, on the first mentioned on the studio today, I think by the grace of God, God is in charge and is still in charge forever. Those who have been vandalizing our things should think twice. They don't need to go to church. I don't know. It's only that the time is just 2 minutes. It bleeds my heart when I see the same people going to church, the same people preaching and committing crimes, and it saddens my heart. That's why many people don't even understand what is meant by Dakada or arise. Arise to righteousness. Arise to do what is right, and then the glory of God will overshadow you, and you become a blessing to your generation. But people they are still so bad at doing the same thing. I mean, it's wrong. Okay. Do you know what is happening now? Get to the NEPA headquarters in Akwa Ibom. Who is the man in charge of customers? It's an Akwa Ibom person. But the wickedness of that man only God knows. I've warned him that he doesn't want to hear. All that he's doing, he felt he wants promotion for himself. Selfishness has killed a lot of people. So coming to the medication, the guest in the studio has talked about, we've seen too, the truth that back to our creator will solve the problem. I know the medical doctors are doing a nice job, but many times they said, we don't know what to do again. But I see that a woman had a problem for 12 years of the issue of blood. He ran to the mass to our father.
All right, thank you very much, Parliamentarian. I'll come back to the doctor to respond to the other one. But welcome, Parliamentarian. You're live on plenary. Happy New Month.
Yeah. Good morning to everyone in the studio. Yeah. Calling you from above.
Welcome.
Yeah. What drew my attention this morning is the doctor talking about the lady that cannot see for over 5 years that they gave drugs. Now she can see. She went to the market because now I cannot see. So that's what drew my attention. I don't know if it's possible for me to have access to the drugs too and take it if it will work for me. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, parliamentarian, just hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. I'm trying to take up your contact so we could share that with the doctor. Just hold on a minute.
Okay.
All right. What's the name again, please?
Samson Kennedy.
Samson Kennedy.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Good morning. Thank you.
Okay, I'd like for you to stay on the line in case the doctor would have a question for you, because we're talking about neglected tropical diseases, and it's only those kinds of issues that can be sorted out. So, doctor, over to you.
Okay, thank you. Good morning once again, Parliament. From the last parliamentarian, we talked about his sight challenges. You know, medically, there are different causes of inability to see well, or should I say different causes of blindness. You know, so for you, I would like you to call this number so we can ask you more questions. I don't think we'll have the time to ask all those questions here on in live radio. So you can call this number. It's 0806 708 1122. I repeat, 0806 708 1122. So by the time you call and we interact with you, we'll now know what could be the cause of your, your eye, your sight challenge. Because for this woman, she lived in an endemic community for onchocerciasis, and she had itchy eyes, blood vision, and symptoms that were related to onchocerciasis. And by the time we gave her the drugs, she responded very well. And blindness could be due to other causes: diabetes mellitus, hypertension, cataracts, glaucoma. There are so many disease conditions. So when you call us, we now know what to tell you. Then the first parliamentarian, I didn't really get his question. I actually heard the part he talked about the Nepal person.
Okay, so he's saying the doctors are doing a good job, but there are situations where the doctors say they no longer know what else to do.
I don't think any doctor says that. What we encourage people to do is to present early. We always encourage people to go to the hospital anytime they are ill, because what we have observed in this part of the world is that most times people come to the hospital when their conditions are in the late stages, when the complications are upsetting, and there's hardly anything one can do. For instance, we're talking about lymphatic filariasis. We've talked about the swellings of the legs. Most of the ones you see on the road, they've had those conditions for 10 years or even more. And at that stage, you can't really do much, because, the swellings are there, they've become a part of the person's body. So all we do at that stage, just to, provide supportive care, reduce development of ulcers and the ulcers getting infected. But if it's just starting, there are some procedures that could be, conducted, and some things that the person could do, and the swellings just start to reduce over time. So we encourage our people to go to the hospital anytime they are ill, and they should always present early, because when the doctor says, there's nothing I can do, it doesn't really sound very true.
All right, let's head to the Facebook comment. You have Parliamentarian Henry Wells says, "Good morning, Mr. Speaker. It's a pity that some African countries are embracing coups as a result of bad leadership. How can a country be so rich in mineral resources, yet the people are wallowing in hunger, disease, and poverty? Democracy, which is supposed to be the best form of government, has suddenly become a tool for exploitation. If adequate care is not taken, I see this will wind up spreading across all over." Thank you, Ermen Henry. Well, we do pray it doesn't wind up across all the countries of Africa. Parliamentarian Noyidion says, "Good morning, parliamentarians. Happy weekend and happy new month to all of us. Vandalization of government properties in general, being electricity stuff or other government properties, should be handled with seriousness. And when those involved in this act are apprehended, such fellows should be sentenced to prison so that others will learn from it. For the proposed supplementary budget estimate of 150 billion naira with the recurring expenditure at 50.3 billion naira, it's a lovely budget from the state government, but I want to believe that this budget would involve handling some good tangible projects in the interior villages across the state." That's from Parliamentarian Nonye Idiom. Many thanks for joining us. Of course, we head back to the phone lines. Good morning. Welcome to the plenary.
be calling back again.
All right.
Yeah, please, I cannot pick the number. I don't know, since you have been able to carry my number, please, you can give it to the doctor to call me.
Okay, so I'm going to read out the number again, parliamentarian, so you can take it. While the doctor was reading it out, I also took it down. So simply just end the call and take the number. Reeled out by the doctor is 0806 708-1122. I hope I got that correct.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the number for you to pick, 0806-708-1122. You just call once the doctor is out from the plenary, and of course he'll be attending to you. We see Parliamentarian Hope Umor Jr. says, "Good morning, Mr. Speaker. I concur with Femi Falana. The ruling class and political godfathers have been manipulating the common man. The rich are getting richer, and leaders need a total change of mindset to attain success." That's from Parliamentarian Hope Umor Jr. Prince Onyeti Ntia says, "The People's Parliament, happy new month. The issue of electricity vandalism is a sad thing that affects our environment negatively. On Queen Africa, the causes is bad or poor leadership, lack of social amenities, high cost of living in Africa, poverty, and hunger." Of course, we also see Parliamentarian Master Akaninyene Umana, who says, "Good morning, Mr. Speaker. I'm Parliamentarian Akaninyene Umana from Mpatak Ikoroba. Bad governance is the cause of coup in some African countries. Democracy is no more defined as the government of the people, by the people, and for the people, but is the government of the people, by the greedy, and against the people. I feel like crying when our leaders are taking actions on their own which will not favor the masses. God bless this country, but here we are suffering because of poor leadership." That's from Parliamentarian Master Akaninyene Umana. Thanks for joining us. We take a short pause for a commercial break. When we come back, we'll be wrapping up our conversations on the floor of the People's Parliament. Stay with us.
No matter what I do, you love me unconditionally. You show up for me every day, no matter when I show you.
A mother's love is unconditional. Nothing serves this love better than a bowl of Indomie. So, show some love with Indomie.
Of course, this is still the People's Parliament coming to you live on Planet 101.1 FM. Today we had 4 focused conversations. Of course, reactions from parliamentarians still coming in, but we have Dr. Anyeke Mowa, who is the State Coordinator of the Neglected Tropical Diseases and today's Control and Elimination Program with us live on the plenary. And some shocking revelations have been made this morning, which I would rather say as a people in Akwa Ibom State, we need to pay more attention to mosquito, to sanitation, pay a lot more attention to investing in reading our state of these diseases. Just take a few more comments before coming back to the doctor. We see Parliamentarian Samuel, who says, "Good morning, Mr. Speaker. The issue of vandalization is getting out of proportion. I personally checked all the solar street lights installed by the administration of Godswill Obodok, and I was shocked that 90% were vandalized. Most of the primary schools built by the previous government are vandalized. The ceilings, fans, electrical installment taken off. The leaders loot while the portfolio is vandalized, and I wonder how we will grow with this kind of backward mentality. The government, parents, and the communities should play their roles." Very valid concerns raised there. Of course, in line with playing their roles, we see the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly moving for stiffer penalties for people who vandalize and steal from public projects. Of course, we do hope that this legislation becomes a law in line with what Governor Pastor Umoina said, holding accountable community leaders. This will better reposition a state. But let me come back to you, Doctor, before we wrap up our conversation. Let's talk a little more about the summit coming up on the 7th of September. What does the summit hope to achieve? And after that, are we hoping to see more regular interactions between the State Ministry of Health and relevant agencies towards ensuring that we rid our state of these tropical diseases?
Okay, thank you very much. The summit is coming up on the 7th of September. It's a Thursday, 7th of September 2023 at the banquet hall of Ward Bridge Hotel, IBB Way, here in Uyo. And the theme is enhancing domestic resource mobilization, towards sustaining the control of neglected tropical diseases in Akwa Ibom State. And the objective is to, bring stakeholders together, to better appreciate what neglected tropical diseases are, so that they can look at, what has been done in the program, look at the strategies that are being implemented, achievements that have been recorded, the gaps, and to, really, take a more costly look at how, these challenges can be, resolved. So we are looking at enhanced resource mobilization, because, I mean, like I said earlier, the government alone cannot just do it, So we need other stakeholders to be involved, both from the public and private sector. We need more intersectoral collaborations. We need those in academia to be more involved, to conduct research and all that. So we hope that at the end of the summit, we'll be able to further create awareness on NTDs amongst the stakeholders, and also open up more opportunities for domestic resource mobilization, towards the implementation of the various strategies that have been mapped out for the control and eventual elimination of neglected tropical diseases in Akwa Ibom State. And we have a 2030 global goal of eliminating at least one NTDs, in at least 100 countries across the world.
Okay, that's a beautiful goal. But one thing with goals set up with by Nigerians and other African countries, and in fact globally, I think what we see is mostly goals set on the pages of papers and media discourse.
No. So we're working towards it. For instance, let me give an example. Like in Akwa Ibom now, we have 11 local government areas endemic for lymphatic filariasis. And after we are treated in those local government areas for about 5 years, and we've had effective rounds, there's assessments that are conducted independently by the Federal Ministry of Health. And those assessments have been conducted in 10 of those local government areas. And all of them have proceeded to the next stage. So by the time the second assessment is done and the third is done, and the state passes in all those assessments, we can now say, okay, lymphatic filariasis has been eradicated or eliminated in these local government areas. So in as much as goals are set in the program, there are also, other strategies that have been put in place to monitor the progress that is being made towards the realization of, those goals. I mean, like, when we started working towards eliminating guinea worm disease, it was a goal that was set, and, it was monitored from time to time, the various activities, until eventually, Nigeria was declared as being guinea worm free. So it's the same thing for the NTDs. There are quite a lot of them, but we are targeting some. I mean, like in Akwa Ibom, our goal is to ensure that by that 2030, at least lymphatic filariasis and even onchocerciasis would have been eliminated from the state.
Well, we do hope that goal is achieved. We'll take a few comments before coming back to wrap up. Parliamentarian Douglas Peter says, good morning, People's Parliament. Because they aren't really bothered about the real reason of military takeovers, how can one family lord over Gabon for 56 years? Is it a monarchy or democracy? Same thing is applicable in 95% of the pseudo-democracy in Africa, except in South Africa. All these organizations in Africa should first treat the causes of military takeovers and not the symptoms. Because Cameroon, okay, I have to skip that comment. It goes against standing rules on the floor of the plenary. But thanks for joining us. We see Parliamentarian Broad Journal says that People's Parliament, sometimes the bulk of the blame should go to the people who neglect their environment, thereby creating diseases that brings about all manner of sicknesses. And I urge for thorough orientation and sanitation through the media for the people to be aware. Palliative should not be necessarily bags of rice and garri, but provide amenities like 24-hour constant electricity, create jobs for the youth by revamping our industries and entrepreneurial growth, where steady power supply can assist in developmental studies. Education sector should be looked into, where classrooms are rebuilt to standard. Of course, quality healthcare service and agricultural revolution, where Akwa Ibom State should be producing enough. to tackle inflation. That is from Parliamentarian Brojana. That's where we're going to draw the curtains on our comment section. Just the last word of advice to Akwa Ibomites and residents in Akwa Ibomites, particularly about the summit coming up on the 7th, so we can get to have a lot more information and know how to guide ourselves against entities.
Okay, so for parliamentarians and other Akwa Ibomites, I want to encourage all of us to always take responsibility for our health. Let's always remember that prevention is always cheaper and better than cure. And for the forthcoming NTD Stakeholder Summit, which is going to be happening for the first time in Akwa Ibom State, it's going to be a very good opportunity for all of us to, get to know more about NTDs, the activities being conducted towards the control, and the achievements that have been recorded so far by the Ministry of Health under the leadership of the Honorable Commissioner, Professor Augustine Vincent Moore, and very importantly, for us to participate and also see areas of support towards sustaining the control and elimination of entities in Akwa Ibom State. So there will be links that will be shared some days to the event, so people can also join virtually. We're going to have a virtual audience. Then we're also going to send invitations to some participants which will need to attend physically. I know some people are interested, but the hall cannot contain so many people. So we have physical attendance, and we also create an opportunity for virtual attendance. Thank you.
All right. Just before we go, thank you so much, Dr. Nyekeme, for coming on the People's Parliament and enlightening Akwa Ibomites about NTDs. I do hope that we all have taken the wealth of information that you've shared and will be properly guided going forward. Of course, I do want to also encourage us to go out and be part of the summit, because diseases like these are part of the reasons why we have high mobility across our villages. And if we're able to get the right information, of course, be proactive in measures to tackle it, then we'll be better off for it. But thank you so much, Doctor, for coming on the plenary.
You're welcome, Mr. Speaker.
All right. Of course, to parliamentarians, once again, Happy New Month to you. It's the first plenary session for the month of September. It promises to be a month of robust engagement. Of course, we will be looking at the first 100 days in office of Governor Pastor Mono and what has been achieved so far. We'll also be looking at the areas that we need to redirect the government's attention to. Like to, again, appreciate you. And, of course, always remember to be a law-abiding citizen of Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria. Continue to pray for our leaders and our government so that we can have true dividends of democracy, and thankfully we'll be having the level of development and security spread across for our collective growth. Francis Oyima Edet is my name, wishing you a lovely new month of September and the rest of the Ember month, and of course God bless Akwa Ibom State, God bless Nigeria. From me to you is bye-bye.